Welcome to Tech Startup Stories, hosted by Natalie Binns. This is the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of the B2B startup world.
Hi, I'm Natalie Binns, and I'm the host of Tech Startup Stories. This podcast is really designed to share the unique and challenging journeys of all the people that are building small startups to scale-ups in the tech space. My background? Initially, I was in sales, and then I moved into marketing, and I've been lucky enough to work with some amazing tech companies. But my passion is really startups. And that led me back to helping tech startups set up their marketing and go-to-market functions where the budgets are tight and the resources are few and far between. So let's get into this week's podcast. Hi, everyone. This week I'm speaking with Muhammed Shabreen from Actualize. He is the co-founder and CEO of the organization, and they have offices in multiple places. I know yourself, Shabreen, you spend time sort of across UAE and the UK. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about the organization?
Sure. Thanks, Natalie, for arranging this, and it's my pleasure to be here. Actually, as a company, we are an AI product development company. We started, the product development started in late 2024 October. We started building conversational AI. The thesis, what we picked up is that voice AI. There are a lot of providers who does voice AI, but humans operators are not just speaking. They do more than that, right? They do actions. They take a call, they call somebody, or they pick up the call and they update the CRM, they send a message, they send a follow-up email. So they take more than just speaking, right? So that's what essentially the thesis of the product also. So we have voice, chat, and workflow baked into a single platform, and that's can take the businesses solve a use case end to end, not just using the voice and just not giving this the voice and say that okay, we figure out the rest of the part. It's not like that. We take a use case end to end, like an appointment confirmation or a debt collection. So that's a thesis. That's what we are building, and we've been building that for the last 6 months, and that's where we are.
So what made you kind of come up with that concept? I know you've worked for a number of different organizations, you're ex-Google. So how did you come up with that idea?
So historically, my co-founder, we've been working with multiple organizations, and we've been providing consultations in the past. We have seen an opportunity in the market, which one of them is that there are like conversation is a hyper localized one. So you have to localize for your market. When you look at as I mentioned, the company is based on GCC, like in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, etc. When you look at voice and similar platforms in the market, there are not a lot in GCC. And when we started, there weren't any. We were the first one to build the complete stack here. There are people who try to do the white labeling and stuff. But and also another reason is that medical or legal or any other use cases in the business, it's not yet completely fully reliable with AI. Like you cannot still take a medicine from an AI doctor. You still need a doctor. It can just do the co-piloting. Similarly, you cannot send a contract just like that you received from a legal AI product. You still need a human in the loop. While with conversation, you can take an FAQ question with an AI. You don't need a human in the loop. So it is you can take an appointment confirmation. You can call and follow up on something. So that actually is delivering a value to the business. It's already there. It's not like it's an R&D project that 5 years later it can add a value. No, it is adding a value today, and hyper localized such a platform which adds a value to the businesses. That's a good space to be at, right? And we are speaking like billions of calls are happening every day. So it's a big TAM that we are looking at. So there is all the flavors that supports a good opportunity for this product, and our strong rooted presence in the region, language capabilities in Arabic, my co-founders in Arab, a lot of similar flavors helps us a strong positioning for us. Our knowledge in how to penetrate a GCC market, going through the TRA compliance and all of those things, and the regulations mainly. We are in a very strong position to build an AI product and sell it to the local market. So that's where we decided to double down on this product.
So with that in mind, I mean, the timing, is probably always a challenge. When do you start these things? What was the catalyst for you guys kind of starting up when you did?
So You know, yeah, timing is the fraud, right? So you should not be ahead of the market. You should not be, behind the market. So timing, you are totally right, Natalie. Now, timing is a very big part in the startup. And as a founders, we always still wonder, is it little early? Is it little, the AI adoption is good enough for the business owners to take this decision? Yeah. So what we have seen is that we are not too early because we see that the products in the US, at least a lot of products in the US has been quite successfully doing this business in the market. And obviously, there is a tech adoption market. US is a very good tech adoption market. So we see that it is actually working. It is actually working for the business, while there is none who has done this business in this part. So we are taking something what is already working in some of the market and bringing it to this market, adding more to it. Like in US, they only sell voice. They don't do anything else. They don't support chat or workflows. They only sell voice. So here, when we bring it as a full use case for the businesses to take it and get a business value out of it. So when we looking at the progression of AI in the past year and a half, I think we are precisely it went all went fall in place precisely on time. However, AI adoption is still a bit of a challenge. Business owners are still skeptical about the value. They need more social proofing. They need more understanding, education, and yeah, that's the challenge that we are facing. So, however, I think it was a good time to get started.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, everyone's talking about AI. They have been for a few years, even, every single day there's more news articles, more companies popping up left, right, and center. So given all of those extra things that you're adding that don't currently sit in the market today, who do you think are going to be your best customers, your ideal customer profile?
So the ideal customer profiles are people who are, businesses like B2B, SME sectors, I would say, and SMEs and enterprises. So companies who have 50 and more employees, or, 50 and more on the headcount staff. Those are the starting customers, and it could go up. Like we are speaking with some of the large airlines and, large government organizations and etc. But those comes with a lot of custom integrations, custom onboarding, custom, a lot of custom. But plug and play use cases is business. It is not ideal for individual single man people at this stage. However, in UK we see slightly different. A lot of individual self-employed business owners are interested in adopting AI because they don't want to invest a lot. But it's very hard for them to make it. Generally, self-employed people does not have a very regiment process. They don't follow any process. They just get things done the way they want. Any system for that sake to have a proper automation, you need to have an established process. That's where we say that, generally companies who are slightly bigger, 50 and more employees, they have an established process and have a framework. That's where automation and analytics can bring in much more value.
And with that, what kind of research or, kind of journey have you and your co-founder gone on to establish the product market fit, and understanding who can see the most value and what would be the most value for them?
Yeah, sure. I mean, before we doubling down, like as I mentioned, we have not raised funds. We are still bootstrapping from as a founders. We had to do a lot of research. We did quite a lot of research. We spoke with people, business owners. We spoke with tech providers. We even worked with some of the early some of the founders of early voice providers, like some of the prominent names. I don't want to disclose their names, but we worked with them in the past, and we learned from them. We also did a lot of interviews in the market. How do you adopt it? And essentially, we had initially a consulting arm for the company Actualize. So we got an opportunity to speak with a lot of enterprises, looking at the potential. After understanding this, and after understanding the requirement, the gap in the market, the capability we can add, and the complexity. As much as we see a lot of voice AI companies, and if you look at the ads, you see like probably 1,000 voice AI companies, but most of them are white labeled on as stand few of the platforms. But somebody who has the capability to do an enterprise setup, like an on-prem implementation to custom integrations, are very very few. So we see a real gap in the market. Then that's where we decided to double down here. So research, user research, technical research, barrier to entry, the potential in the market, the requirement for localizations. Like a classic example is that I keep saying is clear potential opportunity in this market, which needs a lot of localization, is there. And somebody has to do it, right? And it's AI is coming. We don't like it or not. It is coming. Everybody's going to adopt it in the near future. So that opportunity is what gave us the confidence in doubling down on this particular product.
Got it. Got it. I know from most of the people that I speak to, where there's the founders involved, when you start an organization, you have to wear many hats. I know that you come from a technical background. Tell me a little bit more about the perhaps new hats that you're having to wear that are new and kind of scary for you, and what your co-founder is doing as well.
Yeah, I mean, Natalie, that's a full topic of discussion. I worked in startups earlier. I mean, luckily, I was part of a couple of startup. One of them, which was from a seed round all the way to an exit. So I've been there once, but then that founder was a different person, and he was coming from a strong business background. So business was something he was completely taken care for. Here, I'm handling the commercial side, and my co-founder is handling the technical side. So it was a new shoes for me. uh, yeah, legal is a new shoes, finance is a new shoes, and there are a lot of things that we had to win over. Uh, but I'm also coming with a lot of experience. I think I worked 15, 17 years in the industry, so probably would have gained a lot of working with very smart people, along the side. So, and I could get access to a lot of people because I have long experience. I can call a lot of people and ask a lot of doubts when in junction. That helped me a lot. So, yeah, it was quite challenging, especially the commercial side, pricing, sales, marketing. These were initially a bit. But then what I realized is that it's all a process that we have to, believe in a system, believe in a process. We have to iterate over. We have to set it. We have to be very devoted, do it. We should not jump every day new things, and we should not run in chaos. Basically, we have to establish a framework and rigorously follow it. It will fall in place. When we are doing our digital marketing completely in house, we are doing sales in house. We don't have a lot of OpEx. We either have people who sell, we are people who code. There are no other operation stuff. No, we don't have an admin office in this HR, nothing. It's a bunch of engineers and few salespeople. We are just doing the work. And growth is basically done by the engineering. So I see it's more effective. Nothing against the growth engineers, growth marketers. But when the digital marketing platforms, it's very algorithmic driven. So when we, as an engineering team, doing the growth, we see very good results. So yeah, it's a lot of learnings, to be honest. It's a really good learning.
I love it. I love it. So you've got salespeople, you've got engineers. What's your main go-to-market models that you're focusing on? Is it outbound? You're doing a bit of inbound as well, PLG?
Yeah, so initially it was purely outbound. We prospect the customer. We just go and prospect the customer because we want to be very picky on who we bring on board. Okay, but now since last month we started late April, April, we started doing a very small digital campaigns, and we tried to get some leads, and brand awareness leads, Google Ads. We have LinkedIn everywhere. We have email marketing, everything, but not exponentially, blasted and stuff. We do it in a very minimal way. One thing, we want to build a framework how digital marketing, works, and which are the best platforms for us, where we are getting good leads. How can we optimize leads? You can get leads. I mean, there are campaigns that we got leads for a very, very small price, something lower than $5, but half of them are crap. Then people recall them and they ask them, "No, I just thought AI. I just want to understand what is this AI. I want to get more knowledge about AI," and they just want to know. They just want to speak. Right. So getting a qualified lead is the part. So, building the forms properly, setting the audience. It's a lot of learning. So we want to build that framework. That's the whole idea of doing the digital marketing now. Yeah. So, and to answer you in a nutshell, it's a mix of inbound and outbound. But I see very good success in outbound than inbound.
And then digital marketing is it is a minefield, and even companies with massive budgets and huge teams don't always crack it. So, I understand where you're coming from there. In terms of your product, you're selling it into the Middle East and Europe. Are you selling into the US at all?
We have a client in US. It's a client we received as an outbound. But yeah, it's a reference client to be transparent. But that client is turning out to be a partnership model because they see more value in the product. They think that they can sell into us within their county a lot, like their state a lot. So we are discussing of them being a partnership. But we are not actively selling in US, to be honest. We are within GCC and UK. We have few customers lined up in UK.
Mm. A lot of the podcast guests we've had on the show already have talked about the value of partners and the channel. So I think, when you're trying to break into new geographies or regions, it's definitely an easier way to break into new markets.
Definitely, totally. See, the partners, they have a unique experience in, the partners comes with generally something strong, right? They are coming to us saying that, yeah, see, I have a existing business. I'm doing, let's say, growth marketing for clinics, and I have 25 clinics or 200 clinics. Okay, maybe I can start upselling your product to all of those clinics. So they already have sitting on a customer base, and they are coming up with a strong case that they can. Or there are market, channel partners that we currently work in GCC. They get the requirements from large organizations through RFP process, and then they take subcontract to the startups and other companies. And those from that RFP, there are voice use cases as a custom integration solutions, which comes to us. Those RFPs as a startup, we like one of the biggest airline in this region. We had to reject their ask because they wanted a full free POC, right? So when we are working with large partners, we get access to big orders, corporates, without having to deal the bureaucracy of 10 months, 6 months long sales cycle. So partners are very very important for businesses. I would say the importance of partnership is very very important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It really helps extend the brand, and get you out there. So, given that you and your co-founder have come from, startups in your sort of past, and you've been through the journey and you've gone from early stage right the way through to exit, what have been the biggest surprises for you in starting your own business?
Oh, Natalie, every day is a new topic, new challenge. Every day is a new fire. And so, I'm just trying to see what should I. One thing I realize is that selling is a skill. Okay, so selling is not. I'm not talking about speaking a lot and just trying to convince people. And it's not that. That's not selling, right? It's just that how can we identify the right customer? How can we say the right words to them? How can we, um, we don't, without pushing the product to them, how can we build a framework that is a pull product? So finding that balance, I'm not saying we found it very well and we are the best guys or anything, but I kind of understand that this is very important. You really need to go and explain the value that we need, not just sell your product. We have to really come up with a framework that adds value, social proofing. So there are more things than just speaking, right? So that is a very critical piece, and I think it's a never-ending journey for me, at least. I think we learn and then we unlearn and then we keep trying new methods. So that's an area I would say it's a totally a new when we started.
And that's been so surprising for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, the psychological approach of the business owners when they hear a product, the thought process, how they take the decisions are very different. We don't, we say that, okay, we'll come and solve this for you. We will save you like thousands of dollars just on board. And initially, right, and then they don't take decision. I was psychologically thinking, man, I mean, we are in the initial clients, we do everything, right? Because the first clients, I'm not talking now, like probably late February, early to late Feb. So those days, we are saying we will do everything for you. We just want to see it working in the production. And then they still keep asking questions. I was thinking, like, psychologically, we are saving a lot of money for them without them investing. Why can't they just take it? And they just don't take it, right? Because they, so yeah, it was. I mean, I still don't know how do they take the decisions, but it was quite a surprise for me. If somebody's coming and selling that and without any cost, and you only pay us when you see the value, I said, okay, do it. I mean, if there is a value, I will pay. Why not? Right? And still, some people are very hesitant. So yeah, those are very new things.
I think that's really on the money, to be honest, because there's so many people that are in sales roles today and have that frustration where they've shown real value and can save you money, can save you time, and yet the buyer won't bite. And ultimately, a lot of that is down to things that are beyond your control, or visibility. Something could be happening within the business that they haven't shared with you. They might not be the main decision maker. There could be other projects going on. So, I think everyone listening will feel your frustration, and know what you've been experiencing with that. And I think that's unfortunately the nature of the game. So tell me about your team that you have at the moment. You mentioned you've got some engineers, you've got some salespeople. How many people have you got at the moment?
We have, there are 11 people actively working on the product. Yeah, 11 people. We say we keep counting, yeah, but 11 people actively working on the product. We have about 3 people in commercial activities, sales and other activities, and then we have the rest of the team are into engineering, building the product. Yeah, we are completely based out in GCC, Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So the team sits in Dubai. Everybody sits in Dubai. Yeah, I travel between UK, Dubai, and Abu Dhabi.
So you've got quite a big team considering you've only been going for sort of 6 months or so.
Yes, yes, that's true. We have a decent team. I'm quite happy that we cherry pick the team because me and my co-founder, we've been in the engineering field for a long time. So we went back in our career and we picked the team. Some of the guys were in Germany, they moved here. Some guys were in some other parts of the world. They were all doing very well with Klarna, Delivery Hero, Siemens, and the likes, and some of the big companies like G42 and likes in this part of the world. So we went and cherry picked them. So it's a very good team, and this particular team, we have worked over 6 years in multiple organizations. So their team chemistry is very, very good. So I always say that to people that engineering is not big of a challenge for Actualize. It has never been a challenge for Actualize. It is finding the product market fitness, scaling growth, and the typical journey of how to bring a product from 0 to 10 and 10 to 100 and etc. But not the tech foundation. We didn't have multiple tech debts, vendors, and people will have to redo it, the initial revamp, a lot of technology. We didn't have any of these things. It was a smooth ride from that standpoint.
And you've been bootstrapped so far. Do you have any plans to potentially go for funding, or would you like to stay bootstrapped?
We will go for funding of it. Obviously, it's too hard to stay bootstrap, but we want to go with something that is substantially with a lot of substance. We need to have a real ARR. We need to have a real PMF. PMF. I mean, that's the word terminology is a very big description, but yeah, at least some framework that you put an X amount you can deliver Y, and then you put X into 10, then you can deliver Y into 10, something like that. Once that is a stage, it's ideal for raising more funds because you can expand exponentially then. But without figuring it out, I just don't want to raise a lot of money and then sit on the money and then figure it out every day.
Sure, that makes sense. And if we were to kind of come up with a shopping list of what do you want to do before kind of going to raise? What are the kind of things you want to tick off, so that you're ready for that fundraise?
I wanted to have more customers, certainly. More. We have customers, but I'm saying that more regiment, like disciplined customer. They come, they sign up, they use, and when they pay us on yearly commitment, established contract like B2B contracts. A few large organizations, so like one or two at least, very large corporates. This is what, at least in the initial contraction stage, beyond POC, is what we are looking. That's the benchmark we have done to go for raise. We are not far away from that. We are working in with large organizations in parallel to the SME sector. So we are trying to onboard. Um, the product is still, shaping up. There are too many modules that we need to build to go fully SaaS and stuff. But yeah, I think we will hopefully in a few months we'll reach that. It's in a good trajectory. One thing it surprised me is the adoption in the market. The market has to adopt. Like certain markets are very tech adoption, like US, they just adopted. In GCC, AI comes with a lot of equations, right? AI is optimization, efficiency, insights, analytics. These are some of the value add with AI. One of them is costing, right? And a lot of business owners, fortunate or unfortunate, they look costing a lot. And sometimes when in countries when the labor is not that expensive, like UK, for example, labor is very expensive, right? So having a receptionist as an AI is by default 30, 40,000 pounds in a year that they saved, right? That's not the case in UK. Sorry, UAE, right? So the labor is not that expensive in various sectors. You can get laborers from multiple places. There are a lot of Asian countries who can provide services for much cheaper cost. So when you look at cost as cost comparison, business owners might just not take decision very fast because they might not see a very big impact initially, but it's all about the efficiency, consistency, operations, analytics, and the long term gain, like the scalability. With AI you can scale. Like when you are running a campaign, you don't need to get another 4 call center agents just because that I'm running a campaign, more calls will come, so get me 4 more people. AI will just scale, right? So this learning, people need to understand the benefits of AI. This adoption in this market is something which will happen. I think it's happening, but that is a part where we spend a lot of effort in educating the people.
So, I guess from your experience, and you've been in the market a long time, as has your co-founder, and we speak to, well, I personally speak to a lot of different founders and co-founders. That some that have come from the industry, some that have just either come out of university or been in a completely different industry. What advice would you give to somebody looking to start their own tech company today? What things should they be considering? And what are the kind of, suggestions or tips and tricks you can give them to give them advice in setting up?
Actually, starting a company for a lot of people are very exciting. It's the dream come true. It has a lot of fancy things that comes with the founder. Um, but it comes. The reality is something which is very different. Okay, but I've been into multiple startups, so I was very, very careful on taking this decision. I would to a point that 90% I didn't want to do it, and 10% only I wanted to do it, kind of a situation. But when I see the opportunity, there are a lot of things that fall in place for me. I decided to. So, to the people who start, I would say you first identify what you're building. Do a lot. You have to be an expert in your field. You are building, let's say, a medical field. You have to really understand what is medical field. You should not follow a trend saying that, okay, now everybody's building medical products. We build it. There are, 5 billion hospitals in the world. We can just sell to 1%. It doesn't work like that. Okay. You want to sell one clinic. You really need to understand what the doctor does in that clinic. It's because you are going, like with AI especially, you are going to sell something to the people who are expert in that field. Like when I'm coming and selling an HR to an HR, I have to know my field very well to convince that HR saying that this AI HR can do very well for you, right? So expertise in that field, market, understanding the market landscape, positioning and etc. And then a strong team. You need to have a POC, at least a good MVP ready, like a working product, not just a fire Figma or a presentation. And for that, you need to have a team. You should not rely that I'm a founder. I'll just use some guys from Chennai and I'll spend, $10,000 building some Figma files and, some basic app, use that, get raised fund, and then start building. But what happens when you get money? You will again go to, from Chennai to Delhi or, some other place or Bangalore or, and then find another vendor. That vendor may work, may not work. Then you find another vendor, another one. So know a lot of founders who struggle just on the tech. So you need to have a good team who can build the product in-house, who can take turns along the way, because what we think we can sell may not be the things when we actually go into sell. We'll have to take a lot of U-turns, a lot of integrations, and etc. So a strong team, a strong value proposition. Like you're selling something, you need to have a value that you are making. So these are the fundamentals. Unless you are not very sure on these things, like at least a good tech co-founder, if you're building a tech product, expertise in your own field, understanding about the market and working product, you should not even quit your job and start. It's not a fancy place to be at. It's a reality. The customer, market is very cruel. There is no emotion for numbers. It just comes. There's nobody pays any attention. You have a fancy logo or whatever. You have to solve a problem, and it has to be solved, or else nobody's gonna pay you. These are some of the basic, I'd say, you have to be really careful when starting something.
So, what does the next sort of year, 2 years look like for you guys?
I think I still have more work tonight, but see, we really believe in this. We see that it is just a tip of iceberg in the space of conversational AI. Things are getting much more matured. We are really looking to expand in these regions very well on scale. So growth and scale, like any other startup, that's our plan. We are looking for more rooted, consistent scale rather than having one-off customers coming and going and coming and going. So we do white glove onboarding. We bring the customer, we onboard them, we make sure that it is working well for them, and we do the necessary tips and mechanisms to make them work. So a consistent customer base and the growth is what we are looking at. Then in a very mature way, I'm not just chasing random numbers and going on the funding valuation game and etc. At this stage, it should happen and organically, but we are working towards that.
Wonderful. Well, I'm excited to watch your continued journey. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
I mean, yeah, it was my pleasure, and you asked a lot of wonderful questions.
That's it for this episode of Tech Startup Stories. Have a story you'd like us to share or a topic you'd want to cover? Reach out and we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care.